Okay, now instead of pulling back this way, he did a back fist. So I can't get stuck on my little strategy, my little technique. If I do, I'll try to do the technique I just showed you, and he gets to play the drums on my head here. What I need to do is be flexible to the new situation. He goes that way, go that way. I need to go with him. I need to energize, to move with him, to be willing to change, to be willing to get off of my point of view. Establish a viewing point. If he comes real strong, I need to get out of the way. I helped him a little bit, but I got out of the way. Basically, the metaphor for Aikido, if you want to look at it very clearly, is not this. This looks more traditional, doesn't it? I mean, this is that concept. Have you ever been in this position in your life? It's like all of life is this struggle. There's my goal. There's my vision. Here's my railroad tracks to get me there. Here's this enemy. If I see it like that, I create tremendous stress, tremendous struggle, time, energy, and money, tough on my life, tough on my business. And of course, where's the next freight train coming from? Behind me, here or here. Much more sensible and effective to learn to give up points of view. Don't give up your vision. Use the energy around you. If it's useless, let it go. If it's effective and useful, jump in the engine room and help steer this thing. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. So I hope that gives you some helping thoughts on Aikido. And Bill, come on back. It's your show. I mean,
it's my show. It's your show. It's their show.
Yeah.
A couple of thoughts were kind of going through my mind while you were out there. You know, you're practiced at this. You're master of the Aikido. But when people truly get involved in a conflict, it's very personal.
Right.
I mean, it's intensely personal to such a degree that survival's at stake, losing face is at stake.
Right.
It's easy to talk about fight and flight and say that's a wonderful theory and it's a nice way to respond, but the truth is we don't. We get stuck, not in a principle kind of way. I mean, it looks like life and death. And if you're a boss with your team, you need to be right. If it's a parent with your kids, you need to be right. And it's almost instantaneous that both parties then get into force counterforce. I mean, what in the world do you do?
Well,
how do we take this from wonderful, great experience to reality?
Yeah, this is the point. You know, all of the people, as I just did that, people probably said, well, those are great. I know those. I know I need to be more compassionate, more flexible, more acknowledging, more present in conflict. But then we go out in life and we don't do those things. So the point is, we need to be centered and calm enough in the heat of the battle to choose appropriate approaches. And most of us have considered, like in sports, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, they get the ball in the final minute of play. The average professional athlete, no matter how good they are, still ends up sitting on the bench or on the court without the ball. The reason is those people have learned to go into an extraordinary state under pressure. You can learn that. Those are skills that we can all learn. When you were a young child, you could teach your children them, and you can teach your people in your office. And it starts by learning it yourself. So I'm going to use you, Bill.
All right.
So watch carefully. I want you all to watch carefully because you're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing this together. And this is what we're going to do. You're going to take the average person. Bill's not average in any sense that I can think of, except that he's a human being.
That's right.
He has one cerebral cortex. He has 2 arms. He has 2 legs. And if you just take your partner, and please watch this first, and then I'll have you get up and try it. Take the average person, just have them stand side by side. And then you lightly come up here, very lightly, and touch. You lightly increase the pressure, and you will notice a simple scientific observation. Bill wobbles.
I'm a wobbler.
It's not a real big
pushing
deal.
on me, I don't wobble, so much.
Yeah, and where does Bill's mind go immediately when I touch here, do you think? It goes right here. What's going to happen? This becomes the issue.
Right.
Does Bill have a center of gravity? He most certainly does. Center of gravity, every object in the physical universe has a center of gravity. Center of gravity is defined as an infinitely small focus upon which all objects or the entire object can be brought into balance. Say that again. It's an infinitely small focus upon which any object can be brought into balance. So we could bring scientists in here. We could do correct vector analysis on Bill. And in this anatomical position, we would discover he has a center. It's located about where, do you think? Somewhere
in
this area, right? In this anatomical position. Actually, to get more specific about it, it's located about 1.5 inches below the navel. Now, this will sound crazy at first until you do this, but I want you to touch an area about 1.5 inches below your navel. Now, Bill can't mark this with a magic marker and walk around saying, I've got my center, where's yours? Because it's infinitely small. However, he can touch that area and then have all his awareness and all his attention come down to here. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Bill, just pretend you do.
Okay.
The mind doesn't know the difference.
Care.
It doesn't know the difference between the real or the imagined.
Right.
So what would it look like if you had all your attention and awareness here? Next, with your partner, what you're going to do is touch very lightly. Just touch. Why? Because in the beginning stages, he's liable to lose his center back up here again. Bring the touch down to center. Bring the touch down to center. Now, as I increase the pressure, very gently, very easily, yes, right to where he wobbled before, guess what? No wobble. Very strong. Now, well, here's what I want you to do. He will feel as if there's very little pressure. When you're really centered, you feel pressure differently. So I want you to take your partner, you'll push them right to where they wobbled before, keep that intensity on, no more, no less, so that he can capture it. I don't know how Bill will capture centering. I'm not sure how you will capture centering. It will be a unique blend of visual, kinesthetic, auditory. I don't know how it will be for him. It might be a thought, might be a feeling, might be a sensation. Have that person capture it. Then what I want you to do...
Are you sure you're pushing?
Yeah, I'm pushing. In fact, I'll just do this with Bill, but I'm pushing now 50% harder. Now it's about 100% harder. Yes, this is excellent. Whatever he's doing now, probably because he started smiling.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of like that Japanese.
Yeah. The more relaxed you get, the stronger you get. You'll be amazed at this. Now what I want you to do...
Of course, when you do this, my finger all the way through my navel.
What I want you to do now is just let go of center again. I want you to make distinctions between when you're centered and when you're not. As you make distinctions in awareness, you will begin to develop on an unconscious level the mechanism to go back to center under pressure. But you have to start making some awareness changes. Aware when you're centered, aware when you're not. So let's go pick a conflict in your life, Bill.
Oh, I've got a good one.
Okay, you got a good one?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm going to have everyone do this right now. We don't have a lot of time in here, and what I'd like you to do is to get a partner. Please stand up wherever you are, and we're going to do this all together. And what I'd like you to do, and yeah, even I can't see you, but I know there's probably some people on couches or chairs or a little reluctant to stand up, so come on, get involved, because without it, you're just left again in the intellect. Nice thought, nice concept. What we want to do is experience it. So now with your partner, stand side by side. So you're together here as a team. Then what I want you to do is one person be the tester. The person who's doing the testing, take your far hand, stick your finger right into the top of your partner's head. Okay? Right into the top of your partner's head. Have that symbolize an off-centered state. A problem, something you're worried about. And then what I want you to do with the other hand is while they're up here, worried, concerned, off-centered, check that. Now I want you to just lightly push and notice how very little pressure it takes to create instability. Next, your partner, I want you to touch about 1.5 inches below your navel. Real simple, real easy. Just touch about 1.5 inches below your navel. Now, let all your attention and awareness go there. Touch very lightly, but don't do anything yet. Just touch, because the tendency will be for him to lose or she to lose her center to the hand. Now, even bring the sense of touch down to center. Now, very slowly and easily, increase the pressure just to where they wobbled before. You should notice a dramatic difference. Now, I want you to capture it. You know, it's true that Bill might only be 60% centered and 40% still hoping he'll pass the test. since he's up here in the live camera in front of all those people out there.
I want to fail.
However, it doesn't matter. As long as there's some difference, and there's tremendous difference here. I acknowledge the difference. And yeah, I'm pushing a lot harder, actually, but I just want you to take it to where he wobbled or she wobbled and keep that pressure on so they can capture it. Now let's get off-centered again. Mind and body's intimately connected. When you are off-centered, it shows up in your emotions. When you're caught up in a conflict, take a conflict, Bill, and you out there take a conflict, the person who's being tested. Have it, put your finger, the person who's testing them, have a finger right in front of the person, and have that represent a conflict. Remember it. When you got lost in it, you were embarrassed by it, you had to apologize to everybody. You know, you just got caught up in your emotions with it. Get back to that state, that uncentered state. Mind and body is intimately connected. Have him really get lost in it and check their center again. You will find that instability. You can even put it on their nose and check their center. Check here, though. Don't push their nose. Okay?
Not a lot of centering there.
Next, what I want you to do is get centered again. You see, get centered and then get uncentered. Get centered and then get uncentered. So get centered again, Bill. You can touch that area in the beginning just as a nice, simple cue. Excellent. This is excellent. Very good. Now, what I want you to do, when everyone's there, centered again, stick your finger up again for that conflict. Symbolize that conflict. But this time, instead of losing your center to the conflict, bring the conflict to your center. Bring the conflict to your center. Excellent. Excellent. See, now he's learning to repattern it, even an old conflict. Mind and body's intimately connected. You can't be at the effect of an emotion and still be centered. When you are calm, it shows up in the mind and the body. So the other person now should do the testing. So first let's get centered, or let's get uncentered. Let's get uncentered. Let's go down to the foot. Stand on the person's foot. Have them worry about that uncentered place. Test that. Test that. Yeah, get your mind totally on the foot. Lose yourself to the foot. And you'll find that uncentered state will appear. Or think the top of your head and notice the uncentered state. Next, have your partner get centered. And check that. Test that. Yes, excellent. Excellent. This is good. Now, what we're doing is learning some fundamental ways to monitor an experience of center. Our mothers told us long ago, take a deep breath. We're learning how to now. When you really get calm and centered, you'll find that you won't operate out of your anger. You might feel your anger. You might be able to declare that you're angry, but you won't bludgeon people with it. You won't get caught in this fight or flight syndrome. Now, what happens often is, just give you another sense of it. Jeff, could you come out again? I want to just show you another, as you practice this, you learn more and more ways to monitor it. For instance, if you grab me right here, Bill, between the wrist and the elbow, in the same way, between the wrist and the elbow, and then bend down and pick me up. Face me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah. Easy. I'm light. And put me down again.
Well,
right off the set there.
Jump into I'm light.
Yeah, right.
But it was easy
and then
to pick you.
Go ahead and do it again. Okay? Different feeling? Let's try it again. Uncentered. Go ahead. Yeah, when I'm angry, upset, it shows up. And let me down, please. And centered. Go ahead. Just gentle. Yeah, 1, 2. Is there a difference? You feel a difference?
Oh, yeah.
Now, there's a dramatic
well, you gained
difference.
50 pounds. I mean, at least.
Well, that's the experience.
500,
Yeah, the experience is it changes weight. You know, if I stood on a scale and went up 160 pounds, I got off the scale and got very centered, and I got back on the scale, would it go up 2,000 pounds, the scale?
Clearly not.
No, because it's not about weight, and this is the important thing. When you get centered, you change not weight, you change relationship. And you can do that in a moment. It's not a hope or a prayer. It's actually choosing in the moment of conflict to be centered, to get that feeling. Now, what I'd like for people to do as a simple exercise is I would like you to, again, if you want to, for just a minute or two, check that feeling of center. But I want you to sit down, we'll take 5 minutes, and actually write down, you can use page 8 or you can use page 12 of the workbook that you have. Just write out a conflict that you're having. That's one that in which you're having a tough time with. And notice whether you are in a fight reaction to that or a flight reaction to it. Notice what happens. It's that shoulder grab again. Are you getting caught up in it? What's going on in the body? What is that uncentered state? Is it toward fight or is it toward flee? And then I would like you to get a sense of how you would respond, and write that down, some thoughts about that, if you were really centered. How would it look differently? How would it feel differently in your body? How would it show up emotionally and mentally? And after you write a few thoughts about that, turn to a partner and just share that. And we'll take 5 minutes, and then we'll be back to handle some questions. So you can call in and we can expand this further.
Great.
Sound good?
You bet.
Great.